Well, hello and welcome to Bobo Bun So Vintage Life. Thanks for joining me today. Today I'm going to show you how to make the bow tie bag that I made recently for my daughter. I did show it to you a few videos ago. I will try and put a card up. I always forget to do that. But I'll grab the bag, show you what we're going to be making, and then I'm going to show you all the steps for going through so you could make your own if you want to. This is the bag across me so you can see the bow straps, and I will hold the bag up, and here is the bag with the bow here, and it's lined with Liberty and it's got a phone pocket in here as well. Fortunately, Millie didn't take this bag out with her today, so I've got it to show it to you. Now for mine, I wanted to make it in a black, and I just really wanted to make it in this black vintage fabric that I'd got, and I'd only got so many tiny little pieces, so I've actually patchworked a lot of the parts together. I'm just realising there's a couple of bits I still need to cut out, so I've got to do that before I can sew it all together. So I'm going to be making mine out of this black fabric lined with this pink lawn that's not Liberty but had a Liberty kind of feel. I've got horsehair canvas, so I'm going to show you all the bits you'll need to have cut out to make your bag, and then I'll go through the steps of how we make it. Now to make one of these bags you're going to need all of these pieces. The bag outer, and you're going to need 2 of those, and you're going to need 2 for the linings, and you're going to need 2 pieces in horsehair braid. It's like tailor's canvas. So if you see here, I've got my outers all stuck together. 2 of my bag outers. I've got the same in my lining, and I've got the same in the horsehair canvas, which I'm going to iron. It's an iron-on fusible one, so I'm going to iron that to the bag outers to give the bag a bit more structure, but not to the linings. So that's those. I'll pop them to one side there. You're going to need 1 foam pocket. You don't have to put this in, but this is the foam pocket. So I've got that there. And I will take a photo of these measurements for you so that you know what sizes to cut them out. You're going to need 2 sides for your bag, so this is for the lining, and 2 for the outer, but also with horsehair braid to give that a bit of structure. Then for the little tie in the middle, the bow ties in the middle, I've got 2 strips here. And then for the long ties I've got 2. Now normally I would cut this double and just fold it in half to sew it, but as I said, I didn't have enough. I just had fat quarters of this vintage fabric, so I'm going to have to sew it together with black, so I'm allowing slightly different measurements for this one. But if you see, I've pieced it all together, and I did have to piece these together. I think these are all continuous. This one is really pieced together on this side. If you can see, I've patchworked it all together, but it's busy enough to print to not really notice on the outside. Just did the best I could with the available fabric. The first bag was made out of a red dress I used to wear, so it's all totally sustainable using what I've got available. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to iron on the horsehair canvas, press that to the fabric, then I'm going to show you each of the stages you need to make your bag. I've fused the horsehair canvas to the straps and to the bag outers, so they're all ready to be pinned and sewed, so I'll start doing those. And I overlocked around the edge of my pocket bag so it's all tidy. You'll notice my overlocker, there's something going up with it at the moment. I don't know what, but it will do. It'll stop it fraying at the edges. So I'm going to pin the sides to the bag, show you how to do that and sew them. Then I'm going to attach the pocket to the lining and then make the lining in the same way that I made the outer. I'm going to sew the side straps to the bag outers. I'm just going to do it to one side to start with. So what you need to do first is sew both of these sides together at the centre, and fold your bag in half and make a mark. I've got a little notch here where your centre part is, and then I'm opening up that seam. I'm going to press it later. I'm being a bit lazy here rather than up and down. So pin that at that centre seam, and then pin all down from one side. We're going to deal with these tricksy corners in a moment. So all the straight bits you can pin, just pin those. And then we're going to snip into the fabric just to get it to sort of splay out, yeah, so that we can get this. Can you see how it looks awkward now? It's a bit like princess seams, you know, when you just need to make them work together. I'm going to snip through both layers, then it's done. I don't have to do it later on. Obviously being aware of a centimetre seam allowance, so I don't want to come in too far. Right, so I've snipped through that. It'll be a bit more flexible now to bend this strap around these corners. See how it's just behaving a bit more. If it starts to bunch up on one side, then you might find you just need to shuffle this straight edge just along a bit. I don't mind if it comes a bit over the top. I can obviously trim that off afterwards. But yeah, that's all coming in nice and flat. So I'm going to do the same on the other side, and then I'm going to sew all the way round. And then once I've done that, what's that bit of fluff, I'll attach it in the same way to the other bag piece. I can see I've got that pinned in all the way round, so I'm going to sew that onto there. I've already got these bits clipped out, and then I'll press those seams, and then I'm going to pin the other piece in. I'm going to pin the other piece in exactly the same way, so I'll have my whole bag out. Now I'm going to sew all the way around here using a centimetre seam allowance. So that's all sewn round, already attached. So I'm going to give that a press and then attach the next piece. Sewing's thirsty works. I've got a cuppa here to see me through a lovely latte. Right, I've sewn both sides of the bag, and I pressed the seams on the inside before turning it and clipped in the corners. I didn't say at the beginning to do your corners, either put a plate on your square pattern you make or just use your pattern master to get that curve in, because the outers are going to be curved, but then you're sewing these straight sides to it. That's why we clip in to get them to ease around that. And then once I turned the bag through, I pressed all the seams so it's nice and flat. So that one's ready. Now to sew the pocket, it's a good idea to finish all those raw edges. And we want to turn the top over. So I'm just turning the top over, and I'm going to pin in those bits. Just gives a neater edge for a pocket rather than just turning it under and sewing it the other way. So I'm going to sew down there all the way around with the centimetre seam allowance, which will give me a line to then press that against. And I will trim off those corners and turn the top round and then top stitch this piece in place, and then we've got to attach it to the line. So now with our pocket sewn, you'll see I've sewn it all the way round like so. I'm going to clip these corners and just get rid of just this layer here and clip the other corner and get rid of that extra down there. So move that to one side, and then turn my pocket through and give that a good press. I'll put a point turner in there, you know. So then with that stitch line, so I'll press those out, you know, push those out with a point turner, and then I can use this stitching line to press my pocket down flat. So I'm just going to press that, and then we'll attach it to the lining. So I'm just going to press that flat, and then I'm going to top stitch along this bit, and I am going to do it in black. I'm not changing my thread. So normally I would have used this fabric for the foam pocket, but I just hadn't got enough left. I literally had the teeniest amount, you know, like little bits like this. So I'm going to press that, top stitch that, and then I'll attach it to the lining. I'll show you how we do that. I've pressed my pocket, I've top stitched along there, and all the sides are pressed in, ready for it to be attached to the lining. I found my centre point. I ironed it, to be honest. So I'm thinking then I'll be sewing that much of the bag down, so the position I want my pocket in will be about this far down, just so it's easy to reach. So centre that on there, and then I shall pin this in place and sew all the way round. And then I can make my lining in exactly the same way as I made my bag outer, attaching the strips to the sides. And we'll leave it this way round because we're going to put that inside the bag. And once we've made the lining as well as the outer, it'll be time to make the bag straps and the bow ties that secure it on the middle. So that's my pocket all pinned in place, ready to top stitch around the edges. So I'll go away and do that, and then I'll start pinning the straps to the side to sew them. Now I've sewn on the pocket, I've top stitched all around those sides, as you can see. Stupidly I was thinking, this feels quite flimsy, you know, for putting my phone in. Where's my phone? So slide that in. I think all lit up with my phone. That just feels quite flimsy, so I actually think I should have lined it, you know, had two pieces together which I sewed, or put some backing or something just to reinforce it, but it is as it is. So it'll have to do, and I probably won't use it that much anyway, that pocket. Might just put my lipstick in it. So I've already pinned round the strap round the side, you know, sewn the centre pieces. So I've got to sew that round the side, and then I can put on the other side, attach that, then we'll slip that inside the bag outer. So that's got to be sewn next. For sewing our bag ties, I'll use the one that is patchwork together. All you need to do with these is to fold them in half and pin at the top and down one long side bit, so that we will be sewing along the top and then rotating and coming down the side, and then we'll leave the bottom open so that we can easily turn it around, and that raw edge will get attached in at the side of the bag. So we don't want to worry about that bottom bit at all. So that's both of the bow ties pinned together. Ordinarily you would do the bag straps in the same way, pinning them, you know, fold them in half and sew across the top and pin down. But as I said, I didn't have enough fabric, so one of mine is patchworked. They might both be patchworked together, to be honest. Yeah, this one is and the other one is. And then I've got to make the underside. I've got black fabric, so for mine I've got to sew all the way around. So if I start pinning it, I can show you what I mean. I've got to come all the way up this side, along the top, and then down to make my bag straps. And you'll find if you haven't got enough fabric, it's exactly what you'll need to do too. So I will just pin both of these, loads of pinning, and then get those sewn as well. And then we're ready to assemble a bag and put it all together. I've sewn all my straps and the ties, and I've cut the corners for turning. I was going to show you what I use to turn. It's these prim turners. They're the best things I've ever come across for turning, you know, strips that you make, or tubes, or I don't know, ties. My brain. So what you do is you put the bit that feels like piping through there, feels like a bit like doing plumbing, and then you put your stick in the top, and then you can just slide it all down and through like so. Quick and speedy it should be to turn them round. I might just see if that end of that, rather than having to turn the stick round to the pointed end, pushes those corners out. Yeah, it does. So see, they're really good point turners, you know, tube turners, but oh, I've got to turn these two. That'll take me a while, the straps, and then I'll get those all pressed, and then we'll be able to attach them to the bag. I've got my bag lining all sewn. I'm going to keep that this way round to insert this into the bag outer. I've got my bag ties turned and pressed, and these are the bag straps. They're all turned and pressed, ready to go in too. So what I like to do is to turn all of this down like so. So you might want to get rid of the bulk at these corner seams. I'm just pressing them down so I can find how far down it's all going to go before I put the lining inside. So I'm just going to pin all the way around. I could press with an iron first, but I'm going to do that afterwards just to find my line, if you know what I mean, and then I'm going to clip the bulk away so it's not so stiff and awkward just at those side straps. Down like so. So you might want to get rid of the bulk at these corner seams. I'm just pressing them down so I can find how far down it's all going to go before I put the lining inside. So I'm just going to pin all the way around. I could press with an iron first, but I'm going to do that afterwards just to find my line, if you know what I mean, and then I'm going to clip the bulk away so it's not so stiff and awkward just at those side straps. So pin it all the way around. Then I'm going to just give this a press, as I said. Then I'm going to pin the bag straps into the sides and then insert the lining on top, and obviously put the ties in at the centre too. Just doing this by eye, turning it over. It's probably about 5/8 of an inch, I should say, you know, 1.5 cm. I'm turning this down, and then it will be the same for the lining. I'm just going to check that this looks even. Yes, it does. Right, I was going to give that a press, and then I'll show you the next bit, you know, putting the straps all around that top, and I'll take the pins out. So I'm just going to get rid of this here so it's not as bulky, just not cutting through the stitch line, but just getting rid of these extra bits of the seam here. I'll do the same on the other side. Don't want them loose in the bag though, do I? Right, I need the open end, you know, the unsewn end of my strap, and find the side of my bag, and then I'm going to place that against there like so, leaving a bit going down inside, you know, for the seam allowance. So I'm just going to pin that in place like there, and just so it'll look like a continuation of these side straps is the idea. So that's that. Then I've got to find my centre point, haven't I? I'm just going to... So put these two little strap ties in exactly the same way, just pinning them with a little bit down past the seam here. So I'll pin that in position, and I'll find there's the other one. So the raw edge to the inside, leaving a bit of a seam so you can, attach that down below. So they're all attached with the pins. So now I'm going to slip the lining inside my bag. All the bits around here, so just get all of these long ties out of the way and slide that into the bag like so, finding that bottom seam. What I want to do, I'm going to stitch in the ditch through the bottom seam, where it meets at the centre, just so it anchors this in place, this lining, so it won't come up when it's easier to do this off camera, trying to find this centre point. Always do the lining this way, but I pinned the bottom in, and because it's so flimsy, this lawn, it keeps moving about, I've turned the bag through the other way, and then I've smoothed out the lining and I've pinned it all the way around so that it will stay in place when I just turn this over to stitch through. I'm tempted, sometimes ow god, I'm impaling myself on a pin, that's probably going to really bleed. I might hand sew this around the edge, but the bag straps I have got to sew in really closely. I'll do a box at the side, they need to be sewn in well to take the weight. Yeah, but I'm tempted to hand sew around here just so it gets a neat finish rather than top stitching and ruining this print. So what I'm doing is I've obviously pressed that down, so I'm just folding my lining down so it comes just within the edge here like so, and then I'll just carry on. You can see the black tie will be sandwiched there, so that's got to be sewn in well, but that won't take the weight of anything. It's these side straps that are going to take all the weight, and they will need to be securely sewn in. My hand's really throbbing now after that. Yeah, it is bleeding. I'm probably putting blood over my bag. God, yeah, I have put some over that. Often do this. Do you find that as a sewer? All these injuries you get. I'm just going to rub that and it'll hopefully stop bleeding. One of the ladies in my sewing club gave me a blood on fabric tip. It's if it's on white, because she's a curtain maker, and so she said they prick themselves a lot on the linings which are white. So she said what they do, obviously it's not going to work for this, but it'll just look like another bit of the flower, to be honest, won't it? So I'm not too fussed. But she said what they do is they chew on a bit of thread, they'll get quite a bit of thread bunched up in their mouth, and then they chew on the thread, and then they rub that over where the blood stain is on the white fabric, and their saliva with the thread takes out the blood stain. I haven't tried it, but obviously it works, because she said that's what they do all the time for all of those cuts. Can't believe how many times I'm pricking myself as I'm talking to you. I've just gone in the back of my thumb as well. Sometimes I don't think I should be allowed near dangerous objects like pins. Right, so coming around. Obviously for speed, if I machine sewed this, my bag would be all finished and done, but yeah, I'm going for a different finish, but I will stitch through the bottom of the bag as well for a bit of reinforcing. So, and obviously like through these side, through the side straps. And then I'm going to be able to show you, yeah, I'll show you reinforcing these bits. What I'm going to do is sew a box and then a triangle through the edges, so I'll show you how to do that. And I think this is all going to be done tomorrow, because we're getting near the end of my sewing day. People are about to come home, so yeah, I'm going to be finishing this up tomorrow for you. But I'm loving how it's looking already, with these two there and this tie. Quite nice if it was a reversible bag, wouldn't it? And then everyone could steal your mobile phone, you have it on the outside. See you tomorrow when we will finish off sewing the bow bag. Well, hello, I'm back again to show you the finished bag. I had to cut everything a bit short yesterday because I had to go somewhere just things were happening. I can't remember what now, but I just know I had to stop filming, so sometimes it's all a bit bitty. I'm just wearing some quick clothes I've just popped on because I had to rush out first thing this morning. Yeah, then I'm going to get changed to film something else, so it's always backwards and forwards in the clothes. But what we're interested in is the bow bag, isn't it? And actually here you can see a little bit of my more of my vampire's wife dress, which I'm hoping to get a little bit more done on later today, because I've just got, I think, Saturday afternoon. I'm working all day Sunday, and I've got a bit of Friday afternoon that I could work on it and not do my other work and try and get this dress ready so I can wear it on Tuesday. So skidding in on a tight like deadline with that one. Just, I don't know why I have to do everything last minute, that's just me. But let's talk about the bag which Foxy is wearing, and I will just tell you how I finished it up as well. I think where we'd got to was I was going to hand stitch in the lining, which I did. Hand stitched all the way around the lining, and I opened up the bottom of the bag on the machine and I stitched through both layers, the lining and the outer, so that it was held down at the bottom. That's really important. And then once I'd hand sewn, so there's a thread on there and there, lots of loose threads, don't want those. It's from the fabric. Once I'd hand sewn all the lining in, I wanted to reinforce the handles. You know, the ties don't need as much reinforcing as the handles, of course. Here's the handles, and I think you can make out I sewed a box and then went through the diamonds, and you can see it more on that side. And yeah, so they're all machine sewn on. Right, so we need to see what the finished bag looks like on, so I'm going to put the camera back and then you can see the finished bag. I'm really pleased with it. I might have tied it up a bit too far. What I've done is I've done a double knot before I did the bow, because I thought, you know, you could have some nefarious person that wants to steal your bag and just pull the bow and your bag drops off, a bit like the pocket bags that I did for my patrons. So here's the finished bag. Got it all tied up just at the right height for me to dip my hands in and get everything. And I'll just give you the view all the way around, and then we've got the bow that drapes over my shoulder, and I think this would obviously contrast better with a different colour top or dress, and then I could just undo it to dip in and get whatever I want out of it. We'll do my little bow up and she's good to go. I'm really pleased with my bag. I'll try not to wear it when I go out with my daughter. So we've got matching bags, but I just want to have a go at making my own. I used to wear a lot of these crossbody messenger bags when my daughters were little, you know, because you could get the endless food in and the drinks and just all the stuff that you needed with 2 children and have your hands free. So I've quite missed having such a big useful bag. I know this. I'm really thrilled to have been able to have made the most of this stunning fabric. I mean, literally I had 3 pieces that big. So I'm amazed I managed to get this bag out of such a small amount of fabric. It just shows what's possible, you know, when you patchwork bits together and do the best you can. So here is my finished bag. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and you find it useful. I'll pop a photo at the end, you know, with the dimensions so that you can look at that. So until I return to your screens with something else to talk about or show you, I shall bid you goodbye for now. Please subscribe if you don't already. Comment away. I love to hear your thoughts, and let people know I'm over here. It's always good to share. So until next time, thank you so much for joining me today, and I shall bid you goodbye from Bow Bag and myself. See you soon.